Welcome to the Love Your Life and Yourself podcast, the weekly show where science meets soul and mom chaos meets mind mastery. You're not just a mom. You're a woman with dreams, a career, a body that needs care, and a soul that craves more. This podcast is your permission slip to stop surviving and start thriving in motherhood, health, career, and stress resilience. I'm your host, Dr. Ashley Rath, and every week we bring you actionable insights and transformative conversations to help you create a life you truly love. From evidence-based wellness strategies to authentic self-discovery, we'll explore what it takes to thrive through expert interviews and real unfiltered stories. Let's dive into today's episode. Welcome back. Today we are going to talk about how to make real changes stick and why most life hacks fail. Have you ever found a life hack online? Essentially, maybe even just listened to the biohacks episode, and it promised to change everything. But a week later, you were right back where you started. Honestly, if life hacks truly worked, wouldn't we have all just flawless routines, glowing skin, perfect productivity, inboxes at zero, right? Yeah, not actually happening. So, in today's episode, we're really diving into why most life hacks fail and what actually makes real changes stick. It's not about motivation, it's about discipline, design, and a little bit of neuroscience, because that's who I am. So, let's be honest, life hacks are really appealing because they make us feel like progress is right around the corner, right? Quick fixes, clever shortcuts, and buzzword appeal of efficiency. But behavior psychology shows that life hacks rarely actually work long term. Near Ayal, I hope I'm saying that right, the author of Indistractable, told Forbes that life hacks treat the symptom, not the system. They keep us addicted to novelty because novelty feels good, right? Let's have something new again. It gives us that dopamine hit, but really it doesn't build a foundation for growth. And quite honestly, totally guilty of this, right? I have so many gadgets and things that I use, some of which I use very frequently and some that are collecting dust. Really, according to behavior productivity study on sparing mind, life hacks fail because they rely on willpower and motivation alone, both of which are fleeting emotional states. The truth, this sustainable growth comes from structure. So, what is motivation and what is discipline, and how do they line up together? So, motivation is really that spark that gets you moving, but discipline is what keeps you in motion. So I look at motivation of exercise. I'm going to use this analogy because, quite frankly, I don't enjoy exercising and rarely am I motivated to exercise. But doing it because I know the long term effects of it is discipline, even when I don't want to, which is the majority of the time. Now, have I ever regretted a workout? Nope, not once. I've been very, very sore the next day where I'm like, whoa, I should probably work out more so I'm not so sore. But really, I've never regretted working out. But that motivation is not always there. Actually, I would say less there versus more there. Really, the research in neurobehavior systems shows that the dopamine spikes early in a new habit, but it actually fades as your repetition increases. That's why long term success depends on routines that run automatically, not on enthusiasm. Discipline, then, isn't also about rigidity, it's about structure. It really transforms effort into a ritual. And when paired with smart environmental designs, you can remove any of that friction that typically blocks consistency. So, how do we actually change? Let's explore the science. I love these science backed methods that help to build consistency and real life examples of each. Okay, number one, we have to focus on our environment. What do I mean by that? Behavior science teaches us that context beats willpower. So we have to modify our environment to support who we want to be. If you want to be healthier and your cupboards are filled with junk, well, it's going to be harder. Or if you want to get healthier and you don't have a plan for that environment, maybe you don't know what to wear to go work out, or you don't have appropriate shoes. All of that is creating friction. Maybe you want to drink more water, but you don't keep a water bottle at your desk. Well, you're probably going to skip drinking water because it's not convenient. It's not where you're at. What about if you want to, let's say, scroll less or be on social media less or be less distracted? Well, our environment has notifications all the time. So, where can we maybe turn off digital notifications or put some safety standards? I have an Instagram timer on my phone, which is actually sometimes annoying when I am trying to post and do work on it and it pops up, but it just tells me, hey, you've been on social media X amount of minutes, get off, or it will literally close and not allow me to be on it anymore. Now, I can always override that if I want to, but it helps keep me aware of my habits. So if I am unwilling to change any of my habits, maybe I want to become healthier. So I'm going to prep my fridge with food instead of crap. So we have to start creating an environment where those habits can stick. If you sleep crappy, let's create an environment where you can sleep better. Dark shades, blackout curtains. Maybe you need to lower the temp a little bit in your room, or you need a bedtime routine. Eliminating blue light at least an hour before bedtime helps to impact or create a better circadian rhythm. So, where in your life can you change your environment to have a long term, consistent change of habits? Okay, number 2, micro quotas and macro goals. So here's where strategy really kind of meets psychology. So big dreams are inspiring, but they can intimidate you. The solution, micro quotas, essentially tiny consistent actions aligned with your macro goals. As Dan Silvestri, productivity research highlights, daily quotas are the antidote to overwhelm. They set the bar small enough to start. Examples. So, you want to run a 10K? Well, run or walk for 1 mile for 5 days, then increase it. You could even start with a block. I know a person that wanted to I shouldn't say I know. I have an acquaintance with a person who wanted to start working out. And their goal, or they kept on telling themselves they didn't have time. So, what they did is they set a timer for 5 minutes and they did not allow themselves to work out for longer than 5 minutes, right? Not I'm going to work out for, but I cannot work out longer than 5 minutes. And they did this for, I can't remember if it was a week or a month, but a fairly short period of time in the grand scheme of things. And they were getting annoyed. They're like, oh my gosh, I can work out for so much longer than this and get so much more done. But they started with that micro consistent habit that now led them to being more consistent because now they're actually blocking that time off in their schedule or creating small habits that are going to lead to big. Maybe you want to write a book. Well, start with 300 words a day. Author Nathan Barry, he self-published 3 ebooks using this exact rule. What if you want to declutter your house? Well, you could start with as small as a drawer per night, and then maybe go to a dresser or part of the closet, and then go to the full closet, and then maybe that full room. So start breaking down your big goals with small wins. Essentially, these small wins are going to stimulate dopamine and it fuels consistency before that motivation runs out. Number 3, we have to rely on habit chains, or I like to call it habit stacking. So, piggybacking new habits onto old routines is one of the simplest ways to build automation within those habit stackings. So, behavior cues drive repetition. So, right after brushing your teeth, you're going to meditate for 2 minutes. You could do this in the morning, you could do this in the evening before bed after all the kids are sleeping. Or after morning coffee, you're going to journal 1 gratitude entry. after the kids go to bed, the first thing, instead of whipping out your phone, is you're going to read for 15 minutes or listen to a podcast for 15 minutes while you clean up the dishes or, do the household tasks. When you start your car, you're not going to listen to the news. You're going to actually fill your brain with maybe a podcast, this one, or something that is positive and inspiring, or maybe silence, because we don't get enough of that. So what's one thing that you can kind of habit stack that you do already that you can just be like, well, after this, then I do that. And then you don't even have to think about it. These if then formulas create a predictable trigger in your brain's habit loop. So you don't actually need to expend any more energy into the day to make habits. And that's another reason why habits are hard, because when you're creating a new habit, it takes so much more energy to get that momentum going. But as they become more automated and consistent, the less energy it's going to take from your brain and the easier that habit is going to be. Number 4, don't break the chain. Once you start it, don't stop. So one of the most elegant systems for discipline came from the comedian Jerry Seinfeld. Every day he wrote jokes, placing an X on his calendar, and refused to break that chain. So tracking, pretty easy, right? There's all sorts of apps and calendars. So when you read for 15 minutes, make a mark, and then you can celebrate that. But it shows you, it gives you a visual look at either a calendar or habit app or tracking app, or in a journal, you mark off each day. So this visual cue reinforces that momentum. And again, it's not about perfection, it's about pattern recognition. So when you start to see progress, protect it. That is you're transitioning into an easier phase of a habit. When we start and stop habits, it is so energy exhausting because they're new. They take more willpower, they take more energy. So the more consistent we can get and not breaking these habit stacks or chains, the easier it's going to get long term. Number 5, limit your options. Oh my gosh, this is probably a hard one for me for when I get dressed in the morning. Decision fatigue, right? I'll switch my clothes a couple times. It kills the motivation and time. So the average adult makes over 35,000 decisions per day, and every choice drains cognitive energy. By simplifying, you reclaim the bandwidth for what actually matters. So what we have done, you can rotate between 3 breakfast options every week. There's no time deciding. This day we have this day we have this, and use it on a cycle. It takes less mental energy. It's just, this is what we're going to have. I don't even have to think about it. You can capsule your wardrobe by eliminating clothing overwhelm. Lay out your clothes that evening and don't let yourself change, right? Or just straight up eliminating clothes. We have too many clothes. There is a book. Oh my gosh, I'm going to forget. If someone wants to comment on it, please do. But it's something at tidying. I forget what it is. Anyway, she goes through her closet and she picks it up and she asks, does this bring me joy? And if the answer is no, it gets tossed. Joy, not do I like this? So does this bring me joy? And you can go through your wardrobe and figure out what you actually wear. If you haven't worn it for a year, probably not going to wear it. Donate it. Structure actually gives you more freedom. I think people think that when they get more restriction, they have less freedom. But the more structure you have, the more freedom you're going to have, because your brain isn't so freaking busy choosing. It's actually doing it. So if you take one thing away from today's episode, let it be this. You don't need another hack. You need a habit system. So motivation gets you started, but discipline, design, and identity are going to keep you there. Ask yourself, what is the one small habit that you could anchor in this week to remove friction, right? This habit stacking, it's not really sexy. It's not, oh, this is new and awesome. These small, simple, steady efforts done daily, those are the transformations that we're really looking for. The exponential transformations, it's the small, steady efforts. So if you found this episode helpful, share it with a friend, tag the show on social media, and tell me your favorite micro habit. And if you're ready to move beyond the hacks and step into mastery, this one's for you. Thanks for tuning in to Love Your Life and Yourself. I hope today's episode gave you one more tool or one more truth to help you thrive in your health, happiness, and resilience. Remember, loving yourself isn't selfish, it's leadership. And it's the foundation for building a life that actually feels like yours. If this spoke to you, hit that follow button, leave a review, and send it to a friend who needs to hear it. And if you want to dive even deeper, grab a copy of my #1 best-selling book, Love Your Life and Yourself. It's the heart behind this podcast, and it's helped thousands of women step into a life they actually love. You can find it at drashleyrath.com or through the link in the show notes. Until next time, take care of you and keep choosing to love your life and yourself.